Hi, my name is Ingrid Vargas, and today I'm going to talk about pedagogical grammar. I hope you enjoy this teleclass. Welcome to this wonderful world that is grammar. Here you will find a lot of information about this system that can make us understand what language is, how to make connections, and how to construct a systems of words that can be used to communicate a message or ideas. But what is pedagogical grammar? For many years, experts in many areas of language have been working on theories to develop techniques and have a meaningful learning in languages. But right now, in a specific about English, let's go and take a look what pedagogical grammar is. Pedagogical grammar will show us how to use grammar to communicate effectively in the target language. So we can say that it is an expanded view of grammar. It will focus on how grammatical items, that means words or phrases, can be more learnable and teachable. It is influenced by teachers' cognitions, assumptions, and experience about teaching grammar. So it is a group of knowledge to be applied in order to develop new strategies to teach and learn grammar. Grammar has been divided in many types of grammar. One of the examples is pedagogical grammar, but pedagogical grammar has some subdivisions or subtopics to better understand what this can mean. For example, we can have grammar as prescription, grammar as description, grammar as an internalized system, and grammar as a set of axioms. But everything is related, and the goal will be to increase fluency and accuracy of speech to help those non-native speakers of languages to achieve this knowledge and achieve the accuracy. Grammar as prescription. As this word says, is prescribe how speakers should use language correctly. So it is a set of rules for the proper use of language. It refers also to the structure of language, everything on how to use the words correctly, word order, to have a meaningful message, or that the others will understand what you are trying to say. Grammar as prescription also follow patterns. This is in other words, the rules. It is focused on meanings and the functions of every part in a sentence, and it emphasizes on writing rather than on speech. On the other hand, grammar as description is just that. It describes how language is actually used by speakers and writers. For example, descriptive grammar will analyze the frequency in which some words and phrases are used in context. In this topic of pedagogical grammar, rules are natural and don't need to be taught. It's natural and intuitively. Now that we know what is pedagogical grammar, we are going to relate this method to teach adjective. How can we deal with adjective in pedagogical grammar? First of all, we need to know that adjectives are those words used to describe something. It can describe a noun phrase, or a class. They are also called describing words. There are many techniques to teach everything about adjective, but I will mention some of them. First of all, we can use mental maps. Also, we have the cell experience, examples in context, and repetitions. Mental maps is a very interesting organizer of idea. We can use it in many ways if we want to describe situations, or if the student wants to describe something. They can use this mental map with pictures and colors and adjective so that they can learn better the adjective. If we talk about self experience, this is something very wide because you can use the self experience to narrate, to write, or to make oral presentations about what experiences you had in the past or you're having in the present and talk about it applying adjective. Examples in context are those excerpts of reading. It could be a short story, a poem, articles from newspapers and magazine, and identify those adjective mentions in those readings. And the repetitions, of course, it would be applied more to those oral activities where the students have to repeat some adjective in different ways to memorize and try to pronounce them correctly. Once you have tried as a teacher different teaching techniques, it doesn't matter the topic you're talking about. In this case, if it's about adjective, you can identify then some difficulties learners can have by when learning adjective. For example, the plural forms in adjective, comparative and superlative forms, sentence position, adjective order, and combining adjective. What is happening is that learners try to overgeneralize rules, those rules from the previous or the native language, and then try to use the same rules with the target language, in this case with English, and sometimes it is incorrect and results in messages that are not understandable. I would like to point out some suggestions to use with adjective in classroom. You can use organizers to order adjective to show what types of adjective do we have in English and show the order in which they can be positioned in a sentence. The other method would be the use of mental map, as I mentioned before. If here in here you can see pictures, you can see colors that will help you to get that information faster and better in your brains. And it's very interesting because students like colors, students like different things and activities, and they want to relate this with something they like. For example, drawings and pictures. Another way to use adjective is in some paragraph, as I mentioned, in short stories or excerpts of poems in which the students are going to identify different types of adjective and of course the order in which they are going to be put in a sentence. They can use also pictures, but um, to put those adjectives inside the picture, describing a specific drawing he or she likes. And you can see in this example ghost with some phrases and words there to describe this ghost. The other technique would be to describe me activity in which the student will be able to see himself or herself in a different way, to know his personality, to identify his or her physical characteristics in this way using adjective, different types of adjective, and it's a complete activity to know more about him or her. But for now, this is all, and I hope you like this presentation and learn something about pedagogical grammar and adjective. Thank you very much.